In an astonishing scene that left television audiences stunned and production staff utterly bewildered, a ranting Prince Harry had to be forcibly dragged off the set of Celebrity Family Feud after the exiled royal brazenly crashed the beloved game show's taping completely uninvited. Worse, his chaotic, narcissistic meltdown over decolonizing the misrepresentational microfictional white scriptive was so extreme that it caused both celebrity teams to immediately withdraw from the competition in protest. According to multiple eyewitnesses, the beleaguered Duke of Sussex suddenly materialized on stage just as hosts Steve Harvey and Alfonso Ribeiro were welcoming the day's dueling Celebrity Family lineups of the Bradys versus the Partridge Family for their highly anticipated televised showdown. But before the iconic TV clans could even begin their affable game of feuding back and forth for charity dollars, a frothing Harry emerged from the wings in a wild rage demanding to righteously occupy the antepraxial microcularum from the institutional white cremic matrices. The very second Harry hears the Bradys and Partridges being introduced as our guest celebrities ready to play the feud, this Melters just storms out of nowhere ranting about how we were all being gaslit by heterogignol industry complexes proprimitivizing intraplutimantic political violences or some schizophrenic new age culty ***T like that, recalled a still shell-shocked Harvey. Obviously I tried calming him down thinking this disturbed young man was just some Atlanta crackpot who mistakenly wandered onto the wrong set. But that's when he really flipped his lid screeching about how we had to step away from microaggressing cultural cryptocracies. According to production insiders, this sent Harry caroming deeper into a paranoid, delusional rabbit hole of pseudo-academic buzzwords, numerological symbologies, and alt-PMO identity rhetoric spiraling into incomprehensible madness. Shooting staffers grew increasingly unnerved as the disgraced prince erupted into apocalyptic Styxian soul cry, compelling them to surrender distorting metanarratorial epistemologies so his Anunnaki Yathavanurb meme insurgencies could hot-swap the vowels de-resurrecting inherited amniciliarities. What in the microtonal, microcephalic, Plutonian hell was this crazy redcoat raver waif on about? Exclaimed Susan Olsen, the veteran child actress who played Cindy Brady and was preparing for what should have been a fun, light-hearted trivia face-off before the impromptu meltdown. Every time we asked this whack job to calmly exit the stage or shut his sarlacc pie hole, Harry just babbled more gobbledygook about unslaving our Crinan superplastic hyperhollows from the deathrable Pradamnico dictionaries being disremembered by his mother's sevenfold FRYCRYS or whatever. Yet just when it seemed the situation couldn't spiral into more bizarre and absurd theatrics, a rage-filled Harry truly snapped and devolved into volcanic fits of postmodern shamanic incantations that proved utterly engulfing. With unflappable hosts Harvey and Ribeiro watching in shock, the Duke began maniacally stomping around stage while shrieking chants and ritualistic, proteonic gurglings, supposedly meant to bend the perceptual tachytube geometries of linear time itself. Oh, he was babbling full Leary-caliber sci-fi yuppie that made Timothy himself sound like the freaking George Weber for lucidity and accountability. Just the kind of New Age Pluttergeist possession the deep earthers from Rosecruxer used to warn about, described veteran Family Feud prompter Phyllis Forsyth, who's witnessed her fair share of unhinged breakdowns during her 5 decades with the show. Primal herd emissions wailing amidst zero-zither inoculations, pliant spirit oversaturation before turning into Victor's snake egg lexicons and whole new argos invoked from bizarre drawings scribbled in his own sweat on the studio floor. It was at that point, sources say, that a fed-up Brady Bunch clan led by Maureen, Marcia, McCormick courageously intervened before the disruption fully careened into a potentially dangerous situation. But just as America's idealized TV sister tried dousing Harry's accelerating rant through calm reasoning, he began unleashing an incomprehensible torrent of baseless accusations portraying the beloved performers as self-avowed coven-rippers of withering matrix apparitionment evotically sabo-transmutating rejuvenatic ectopregnancies. So this piping chipathingy starts wildly pointing around accusing us all, me, Susan, Eve Plum, and my TV family of participating in some like super sinister, satanic global conspiracy demonically geo-shifting lunar ethermind glyphs into Hebrew Alpha-Syrian bodicogits subversively engineered by Jesuit high scholastics via their illicit Rasputin smoke operatives, recalled a visibly disgusted McCormick, struggling to summarize Harry's more coherent diatribes. Honestly, I didn't even know where to begin unpacking whatever horrific, century-spanning interstellar blood cult Ouroboros complex this poor tormented young psyche had merged with or was attempting to project onto all of us. At that point, multiple security personnel finally arrived on set and immediately moved to physically restrain and detain the out-of-control Duke, prompting him to explode into an even fevered pitch of unbridled hysteria, wildly flagging, vengeful patriarchal militarized cognoscenti overlords necropotently attempting to phase liquefy his avatar's omograviditic transparencies. This moron, this absolute MFAIR thought we were some kind of totalitarian memepunks suppressing extra-dimensional rewriting capabilities. The second burly studio guards tried shaking some sanity back into him. He literally started wailing in ancient tongues, accusing our whole crew of being Virgilian Mnemosyne security force contractors working for Philip K. Dick in the new Mind Dominion, described Suzanne Summers, another member of the ill-fated Partridge taping, who says she's never witnessed a crazier display in her entire life. Cardinal air quotes jazz burning his Thulian spin orb, these barysonic psychoplasmic supervisors surveilling from multivector scalars higher than Ronin Company BB3 interviewers. Even crazier, Summers claims Harry's thrashing became so frenzied that the guards couldn't even complete restraining him until producer Howard Blankfeld bravely broke from the crew to deliver a sharp kick square to the Duke's torso. Only after that visceral impact was the delirious exile finally subdued and dragged out of the studio by a half-dozen security personnel, though he persisted raving throughout about thegalactically geometrating rubicuities, avoiding shuntwarp cleistogamic convergences, to appreciative cheers from wandering mental patients glimpsing the scene from adjacent wings. According to sources on site, shaken show executives quickly called the day's taping off while offering profuse apologies to the two iconic TV families over the interruption. However, by then both the Bradys and Partridges had already unanimously exited the building in disgust, realizing they could be facing yet another staged public humiliation, all in order to satiate a clearly unwell individual's insatiable, unhealthy compulsion for the spotlight. Of course, I feel tremendous sympathy for Prince Harry. This individual is obviously going through something deeply scarring on a mental, emotional, and psychoanalytical level that's causing an unhealthy break from reality, pondered Harvey, visibly shaken after watching the deranged display unfold. But once he started huckstering these daffy QAnon-style transcendental spiritual supremacy theatrics disrupting an easygoing, fun little CBS production, well, I think we all reluctantly realized this tortured soul is being manipulated and enabled in really concerning ways, rehashing tired performer tantrums as socio-political performance art. Added the longtime host. Unfortunately, this one far surpassed just some lovable Hollywood eccentric needing an occasional reality check. Dude is chasing dragons of his own demonic delusions, vaudeville pretensions, and cult of personality messianism that threatens to pollute our culture with truly toxic malarkey if enabled any further. Of course, Harry rejected all claims of wrongdoing in a lengthy statement, doubling down on his supposed metaphysical crusade being railroaded by the proverbial patriarchy, interspersing increasingly impenetrable argot streams on third-quadrant metaglossic memapunk reprisals, with disjointed introspection about spiritually cocooning his voltage self into a protective Chrysoan etheric realm preparatory to srdcitic foundational rebirthing. My hexavalent metaphycritical impunities, shrimped and overclocked by their crematistic sacrilege, won't be binariontially deforming any more utterance capsicums into the snuff-bawd heterophonias, Harry declared in part, somehow conjuring new portmanteaus and sci-fi linguistic hybrids with each passing sentence. My soul cave smelters empower dyslexical living mythoact upscalings into UR Servine Minotaur vibrational image origami petroplastry carrying personages beyond human 3D hierarchical antrocodices. Cosmorganic self-Buddhas undulating towards the Noarian theo-purgatory without extrapollinating super-Sasquatch non-corporeal self-components. And while a Harry update became prominent trending topic on social media, perhaps the most commented upon aspect of the whole fracas? How satisfying it was for longtime TV fans to see an exalted public figure like the disgraced former royal take such a karmic tumble on his high horse after disrespecting hallowed working-class entertainment institutions as beloved and revered as the Brady Bunch. To see the Bradys take a stand, especially Marcia's